going. So starting up here, we do have a Mercy, so that's gonna. Oh no, do we have a Mercy? Yeah, we're on the red team here. So yeah, we have a Mercy. It's gonna be helping us out a little bit. Besides that, we are on a mostly spam composition. The enemy team has a Widowmaker, so we have to watch out for that. And then they're mostly spam besides the Monkey who's gonna be diving us.
Use your heads out there.
Thank you kindly.
Okay, so we see that they have a Widow, right? We watch out for those shots. Widow gets a pick to start off. McCree gets super aggressive. Very nice cleanup, right? We see that he's out of position, so we're focusing him.
Much obliged. Easy.
Okay. I think last time something that we went over was the fact that like you had very fantastic aim in the game that we were talking about, but then you were saying that that's not consistent to all the time, right?
Yeah.
And then I think because of that we went over crosshair placement. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, we did.
Right. So this is an instance here where this is where crosshair placement comes into effect, of making sure we're aiming head level here because we keep kind of going down here. Let's see if I can slow this down. Looks maybe the recoil does this actually. So let's see. Because looks like we're starting off high, then we're going low, then we're going high, then we're going low, then we're going high and low, right? I think that's actually that's the recoil. So let's see where do we going before we're shooting? Shot, right? But look at where it's resetting, right? Where our crosshair is aiming at his legs. It goes up. Now we're at his feet again, right? So this is where crosshair placement really comes into play, especially when it comes to just aiming head level. When we're aiming head level, we're more likely to hit headshots, right? And it's gonna be a lot easier for us as well because we don't have to adjust as far. So make sure we're aiming at the head level, and then that way these shots aren't as difficult to hit. And that's really what crosshair placement is all about: is making it less difficult for you to hit those shots.
Okay.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Okay, very nice. We can look to get super aggressive. We're up 2 here. Don't look to back up at all. We're kiting here for some reason, right? We push forward. This is exactly this is the aggression you want to have. As we are up 2 currently, we've pretty much won this fight because of how far away their spawn is in comparison to our spawn. Plus, we have a mercy for res if we need to. But we're backing off, right? Which just isn't the right type of aggression we want. We want to be playing super aggro right now. Get those kills in.
On my tab.
Alright, so a play that I'd be looking to make here as a DPS right now, because I know that here they're probably gonna have a recontest, right? They died when they're over here, and they're probably gonna be able to recontest. And even if they don't recontest, it's still good to take this. But I like to position like here, and I'll just like kind of crouch waiting in this area, right? And then what we can do from here is either one of two things. First off, if like they had a widow. If their widow was just sitting up on the higher ground, right, trying to take pot shots at us, once the fight starts, we just sneak up here, right, and just get her from the side. But then the other thing is that, like, we can do this for anybody that sits up here on the high ground, or we can just get a back angle on them, right? If they're all sitting below us right here, then we can create a crossfire effect between us and our team, and force them to turn around to look at us, right? And probably get a pick or two in the process. So I'd be looking to rotate. You always want to rotate to the best place possible after the fight's done. That'd be where I'm looking to rotate right now, rather than just kind of being in our, if we're just sitting on cart here, there's nothing. It's not like terrible positioning, but it's also not the best. We're not really doing anything, getting any added benefit or play from here.
Okay.
Yeah, just spamming shield is exactly what you want to do. Okay.
It's high noon. The draw.
Very nice. Yeah, I like that you backed up there when you went for the high noon. That makes it harder. Harder for them to hit you, right? Because you look at the range of their comp. Not really much besides maybe Zen that can actually shoot you from that far away. And 2, that opens us up to have more line of sight on everything. So that was a really good play for you to back up when you did that.
Yeah, I remember that's what you were saying last time, in a safe spot or out of range.
Mhm.
I've been
Victory.
definitely
Allow me to
Yep, safe
doing
spot,
that.
outer range, or surprise advantage, right? Flanks,
Mhm.
uh, like, just when people aren't looking at you. Here again,
stay.
um, so we have more on cart. How many fights are we gonna need on this point?
Um, Probably 2 or 3, maybe 4.
So every single for this is a general rule for payload maps. Each
Mhm.
section is roughly 2 fights, unless you stagger them. If you stagger the enemy team, then that's going to make it or right, two fights at 2 fights, meaning that you need to win 2 fights in a row, right? If
Mhm.
you win the first fight and then they stop and then they beat you, then you might need to win a few more, right? But you
Right.
have to win 2 fights in a row to get it passed, right?
Mhm.
This does not, and that's gonna apply to like pretty much most payload maps, right? One, right? You beat them right on here. They had a recontest, right? So they had 2 fights. Here it's gonna be the
Mhm.
same thing. They're gonna stop you right around this area, and they're gonna recontest right near the end. Okay. Third point, they're going to they're gonna start to contest you right around like this area, right? And then they're gonna recontest right at the end, right? So
Right.
most points will have two. This will not change based on the fact of you having 3 people on cart, right? You're
Okay.
gonna have if you have 3 people on cart the whole way through, it's not gonna change the fact that you still have 2 fights to fight. So, the only time we should have 3 people on cart is if we're right here, right, and we're trying to get it in before they can recontest, right? That's the only
I
time
see.
that we should have more people on cart.
Okay.
Okay. So what we can be doing instead here is we can leave Moira on cart or somebody else on cart, and we should be probably rotating up to the high ground so that when the next fight starts, we already have the high ground positioning, right? We already have the good positioning, which means that we have the advantage, and it makes it hard for them to take the advantage. But if we're giving this high ground advantage to them for free, then that means that we're just giving up a free advantage to the enemy team.
Okay.
I'm your huckleberry.
You're
Yeah, this will
mistaken.
also
I'm
apply to
your
hybrid maps that like
huckleberry.
any maps that have a payload. So like King's Row, for example, as well. Right, both points after where you're on the payload. It's roughly 2 fights per point,
You're mistaken. This will heal you.
and then you just
Watching
see
on.
now because none of you have pushed up to the high ground, they are running out onto the high ground for free.
Free. Yeah.
Monkey pushes your junk off. Nice
That'll
shots.
get it done.
Okay, your monkey's engaging. This is where we should be looking to be more right when we see that this is happening. Right, we're looking to get more aggressive. Whether we hear it or we see it, we want to be getting more aggressive so that we can capitalize on this. Because what this monkey's doing right now is he's taking all of the fire. Right, so if we look at all these people, monkey's looking at monkey. Oh, whoops. Let's just go through the list. Okay, so F. Oh no, that's one. F1. Okay, Reaper's looking at monkey. Zen's looking at monkey. Torb's looking at monkey. Sigma's looking at monkey. Mercy's looking at monkey. Monkey's looking at monkey, right? So there are
Yeah.
literally 6 people on their team are looking at monkey, yet we're still kind of just poking from distance, right? Monkey's in
Right.
there. He's being a tank. Yeah, maybe he's going in a little too early, but we're also not capitalizing on his ultimate, right? So his ult right here is creating space for us to push in and be aggressive because when no one's looking at us, we don't really need to worry too much about about them shooting at us. So we
That'll
can
get
just
it
get
Right.
super
done.
aggro here, look to push
My
in.
will made
Yeah, we kind of
manifest.
sit back a little bit, and that just means that Monkey dies and doesn't get any support. We don't really get to capitalize. We don't get any kills. So when our team's looking to is using ultimates and is getting aggressive, we want to get aggressive with them. So kind of pay attention to the aggression level of your team. Okay, so we get a res off. So now if we're paying attention to kill feed, we are still
Mhm.
even. It's a 6v6. We are pretty much just like this fight's still neutral. We still have an equal chance of winning this. All right, we gotta get a pick. Now we're at advantage. We push aggressive.
This will withstand.
Damn it.
Okay, standing a little too far out in the open. Did
Mhm.
we talk about positioning last time?
We did. Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just, this position isn't fantastic because there's an absence of cover, right? Nowhere really to go. So instead, we want to stand more like right here, where now we see we're low, we go like this. We're standing over. You see where the rest of your team's at right now. They get low. All they have to do is this, right? And now they're behind cover. So don't try not to stand in this little center lane. We want to instead be standing near the walls and near the corners and doorways and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then that means that we're dying less, and we're dying less. That's always going to be fantastic for us.
We need to keep the payload.
I've got unfinished business.
Okay, so now we're losing the fight. Yep, we just looked to regroup. Right now, we probably want to be just, going up to the high grounds. That way we can come out on high ground. Yep, exactly what we're doing right now. Okay, so, it's always a good thing to pay attention to what characters the enemy team has, because this is always going to change up our play style. Since we know that they have a Reaper, we just need to be very, very careful of the flanks, right? We need to watch from the TP behind us, and that's kind of our job here as a McCree. Hog can do that slightly, but really we're the best person to do that, right? Because we have flashbang. If we catch Reaper out with flashbang, then we essentially just get the free kill, right? So we just gotta pay attention to him, make sure he's not getting away with it for free, and then with our high noons, we just gotta watch out for the fact that they have Diva and Sigma Eats, which can stop our high noon. And then besides that, just watch out for the turret as well, because that is going to be part of our job to destroy. We should be looking to, anytime we see it, we should just be looking to take it out, because Mercy can't do anything about it. Moira's not going to be able to do anything about it. Monkey's not going to be able to do anything about it. It's probably going to be out of range for Hog to do much about it, and Junkrat also isn't a great one to take it out. He can if he gets like a good spam angle on it, but we're probably gonna be the best person to take that out. So it's always good to take a look at the enemy team comp like whenever we see it, so that we can kind of make these decisions about kind of what should we be thinking about and what should we be focusing and worrying about.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, we see there's the turret there, and we focus it down. So that's really good. Okay, look to get aggressive. Look where our team's at, right? And when we see our same thing with our monkey going in, right? In the last fight, if we see like our team's doing this, right? Moira's coalescing, Mercy's falking, Hog's whole hogging up there, right? Junkrat's using tire. We just popped 4 ults in a row. They're all backing up. We can't see anything really from this angle. We should be pushing forward much faster than this.
Okay. I saw the Reaper over there, so I went see if I could catch him, but I knew that.
Repairing the damage. This will heal you.
Thank you, Connie. Enemy. Much obliged.
You needed a goddess?
Thanks. Get this doggy moving.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Push forward. Enemy turret comes at a bother us anymore. Your doctor is almost ready.
Push forward.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Onwards to victory.
Keep in mind that if you're not... Oh, and then what did I do? I guess I skipped backwards. Keep in mind that if you're not right next to somebody for the right click, you don't always have to right click, right? We can add in shots. So if we flash Torb and we're all the way back here, you might want to just consider just tapping him in the head twice, right? And I know it's going to be a lot harder to hit that second shot now that people your flashbang doesn't last as long, right? So not the flashbang. It's your regular shots. Your fire rate is slower. You're not gonna be able to get the full 2 shots off nearly as often. But especially if somebody's low, right? So let's say we get a first shot off on somebody already, then that might be a situation where we might want to just follow up with a shot. So like we're at 525 currently. I'll just, I guess, go over this real quick. so you can see it. But okay, let's see. So
Just in
if we
case
like it,
you
because if we see
think
somebody and we just like go tap, tap,
Hold up
right?
now.
If they're already low enough to where the headshot's going to kill them, we probably want to go for the headshot over the right click because really the big thing is it conserves ammo, right? It's one single shot versus 6 shots. The 6 shots take longer, so we're stuck in the animation longer, right? So we have to be there doing the right click the animation the whole time. It wastes ammo. When if we get that initial tap off, we might not need to go for the right click, especially if we're pretty far away from them, right? If we're far away from them,
Okay.
the right click might be harder to get off. And we might want to go for just the headshot on them, right? So especially if we get the first shot off, be thinking about just going for the headshot instead of trying to go for the right clicks. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. I definitely. I know I have a habit of just using right click when I shouldn't.
Push forward.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Onwards to victory.
Activated.
I excited the enemy. Ensure the payload progress.
Bitte die Felsen sind vor mir!
This will deal
Hold up now.
Something you could, instead of trying to flash while the bomb was going off, you probably could have just waited until the bomb exploded and then go for the flash, right? That way it's a lot safer. You don't have to panic rush it as much.
require assistance.
Easy.
Group up with me.
All in
Get
a
into
day's
position.
work. Damn it.
Surrender. 60 seconds remaining. This will restore you.
Enemy turret ahead.
Payload's moving out.
I need to recharge. Allow me to repair the damage.
Yeah, I definitely should be trying to take high ground more, like going through that doorway that's in front of me
Yeah.
instead of going up here.
It's not as bad when you know that there's when there's 5 people contesting the high ground. Like you can definitely try it and try going for a pick as well, but I think it's okay to spam from a distance. Now this high noon, I don't know if
Put it on my tab.
we're planning to get much done with that. Something I would have tried to do is just drop off the high ground, because if you just drop off here and Sigma, I guess once Sigma pushes back here, you'll see. Sigma pushes back,
Put it on my tab.
we drop off the high ground, and then I'll look, right? We see Sigma from there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's something just for this spot might not be the best. Sigma does drop into a dumb spot though.
This is not onwards to victory.
Oh, it's the Torb. What were we? Oh, were we listening for the Reaper?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Don't move.
Don't try to just go for a target. Try not to hesitate, because we end up not
Yeah.
shooting at anything there.
Yeah.
Because we see the Mercy and we decide to go for the Mercy instead of the Reaper. And then that just means the Reaper kills us. So if you see the Reaper, right, just try to go for the Reaper. Even though Mercy's gonna pocket him, it's better to just get the shot off than to miss completely. Yeah, but I'd probably say the biggest thing there is that we just didn't really get enough impact, and yeah, that can come from flanking to get that kill if we're just not focusing anything. The other thing I'd probably say is that we tend to focus tanks a lot. Is tanks are usually the main thing that we're looking at, and just keep in mind that shouldn't typically be the main thing that we're looking to shoot, right?
Okay.
Tanks. I don't. Did we go over at all about target priority last time?
A little bit. I
A little
should
bit.
focus more squishies than tanks. Is
Yeah.
the gist of it?
Yeah, focus most squishies on tanks because of two big reasons. One reason is they're going to be much easier to kill. Okay,
Mhm.
tanks have 3 times the health. Tanks have tanking abilities, and tanks can be pocketed by 2 supports. Now take that against a, let's say for example the Zenyatta. He has a third of the
Mhm.
health of a tank, no mobility, no defensive abilities, and he
Mhm.
can only be pocketed by Mercy. He can't heal himself, right? So that means that he's much easier to kill. And then on top of that, a lot of the times DPS and supports will have more of a statistical input in the game, which means that DPS obviously do damage and supports do healing. Whereas
Mhm.
tanks, really, their main objective as a character is to create space for DPS and supports, right?
Right.
So you're going to get more value out of killing DPS and supports. So tanks are what you shoot at if there's nothing else to shoot at, right? If you
Right.
have no opportunity to shoot at something else, then you shoot at tanks. But if you have the opportunity to shoot at something else, you go for it, right? Some
Okay.
exceptions to that would be if you can obviously kill a tank super easily by using an ultimate. If the tank is low HP, if the tank is out of position, but if it's
Mhm.
an equal opportunity, like for example, you grab their whole team, right? You shadow the whole team. You never focus a tank first, right? It's always
Right.
going to be the supports. Again, I say always, but there are some exceptions. Like if Zarya has grab or Zarya's high energy, there are going to be exceptions, and there's never a 100% rule in all of Overwatch. There's there's very
Right.
there's very
Yeah.
complex game, so it's not a 100% rule, but most of the time you're going to be looking to focus the squishies.
Right. So it'll be like 2 shots versus 5 or 6 or more.
Um,
Complete. Score 0-1. Switching sides. Attackers ready
okay,
for
so we
battle.
swap to soldier here.
Feeling spry.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh, I see.
I've still got
5,
it.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Keep an eye on your health and call for me if you need assistance.
Okay. Right now, before we're peeking too far out in the open, the first thing on my mind is what DPS do they have? Because this is a very popular sniper map, and if they have
Mhm.
snipers, we need to be very careful about how we're positioning. So the first thing on our minds here should be what do they have, right? And that should apply to every single game. That's the first
Mhm.
thing that's going through our head. What's our team running? What's the enemy team running? Because that's always
Okay.
gonna change how we're playing. Okay, we see on our team we
Right.
have we're mainly running a spam composition, right? We're all gonna be looking to play long range characters. We're all trying to play far. We're all trying to play slower. Um, we also have a mercy, so we can call and then Ana, right? So we can call for Nano Visor. When we're going for Visor, we can also call for the Mercy to pocket us, right? So we can call for both of those.
Mhm.
Enemy team, we don't see the first off. The big thing I'm thinking is yes, no snipers, right? We know
Right.
they don't have snipers. Reaper again, we got to watch for the flanks and then to teleport behind our team. We're not as much of a counter to that now, but we still need to watch for it, right? So that we're not getting caught off guard and so that we can contest them, because even just shooting him means that he has to back off.
Mhm.
Um, we got to watch out for hooks. Or we don't really need to worry too much about anything. Zenyatta, yeah. McCree, we just got to watch out for the flashbangs. We're in duels, and then we're not, straying too far out in the open, because then we'll just get rolled. And then that's pretty much it, right? We're on a
Okay.
mostly spam comp as well. I think ours is slightly better in terms of spam, though.
Push forward.
Barrier's about to break.
I'm with you. They're all over me.
Heal up.
Okay,
Hold back.
right. So instead of just spamming down like when McCree, Reaper, and whatnot like are all just standing next to the tanks, not behind shields, not behind anything like that. Don't focus the
Mhm.
tanks, right? We're just spamming a
Yeah.
lot of Sigma Hog here when everyone else is just equally accessible currently.
Damn
For reloading on Soldier, there's a cool little techie thing that you can do, where essentially what you're going to do is you're going to jump and reload, then reload, right, while you're midair, and that'll keep up your momentum while you're sprinting, right? So we can sprint, or I have to shoot a little bit. We can sprint, jump, reload, and then you'll pretty much keep most of your
okay.
momentums rather than just walking while you're reloading, right?
Okay.
We can jump, right, and keep up all that,
Gotcha.
especially if we're going down a platform that you can. Oh, that's where you really see it, right? But that can help you just negate a lot of this, like you can get a lot of more speed going, right? So that you're not just kind of waltzing down while you're trying to reload.
Gotcha. Okay.
Welcome to Junkertown. Ready?
Barriers about.
Okay, so here they got caught a little bit out of position. If we see that they're pushing that far forward, we probably don't want to be on this right side. Preferably, I would be looking to do something like instead of taking this right side, unless we are looking to flank all the way behind, which is something we could do. But instead of just sitting, chilling down here, I'd be looking to go be looking to go on a flank. Two, probably be looking to take high ground. So I would probably do something like this, where I'm taking top left, or I'm taking right above here. So we can
Okay.
get that high ground advantage, right? We can see over shields. We can have more survivability. We get more visibility of what's going on. But the second thing to keep in mind is that Soldier, more over than McCree. McCree can do this slightly, right? But Soldier is a kind of flanky character. On Soldier, because you have the sprinting and because you have the health pack, right? You can have a self-sustain to where you can run behind enemies, gun someone down, or distract them from the side, and then just run away and be fine. So you want to be looking to do that rather than just sitting here on the front line in a very odd angle where this is not the best, because now we also have to run through the open this way, right? Whereas if we're on the left side, now like when they're pushing through choke, all we have to do is now we just run up behind them and then boom, 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 we shoot them in the back, we back off, we come back, right? And we just keep doing that over and over again. This is a much better angle than maybe where we're at currently.
Yeah, this is a terrible decision. I decided to try and run up the stairs, but then I get killed by the Zen or something.
Yep. Also, instead of running in straight lines, what we can always do is just mix it up, right? When we're, this is very easy to do on Soldier, but this also applies to other characters. Is we never want to be moving in straight lines. So that that includes AD strafing. That includes like going side to side. But then that also includes when we're just running somewhere. If people are looking at us, we want to be just kind of pressing W while we're shaking our camera around, and then that kind of shakes up our movement by a lot, right? And if we're instead of just running in a straight line, we just like add in zigzags, right? We can also like we can add in stops, right? So if we're trying to run across this open area, we can go like stop, right? Stop, and then we go, right? That can help dodge out like shots. Just make sure you're mixing up. You're not just going like this, right, the whole time, right? You're not just running in a straight line, because then that just makes it super easy to predict where you're going. Versus when you're just kind of being crazy and going like this, which of course from this camera angle you can't really see how much this is doing, but you'll like if someone's on top of you, you see other people do it. Like doing stuff in like this is just like absolutely messes you up a lot.
Welcome to Junkertown.
We're all.
Okay, so we just died here.
Mission ain't over yet.
The battle continues.
Duncan, my ultimate is ready. Affirmative.
Good choice.
All right.
We need to fall back and regroup.
You needed a
Very good hook dodge. Right now, I might not be looking to sit on this high ground for long, because I'd probably be looking to be where we were talking about last time in the top left high ground. But this high ground's pretty far away from the fight, which just doesn't allow for us to do a whole lot. Probably want to be a little bit closer to the fight, because though Soldier Though Soldier is a mid-range character, he's not a long-range character. He does have damage fall off. On top of his recoil, which just will make it harder at a range. His damage fall off means that we're not doing a whole lot at a range.
Right. Okay.
Right. Like if you, I guess, like we can demonstrate. I keep coming out, so I'm sorry about that. But
No, it's
like I
alright.
can demonstrate his range to where you do have a fall off the further away you get from enemies. So when we're up right next to somebody, right? This does, let's see, body shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Now we come to over here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay.
Yeah,
So almost
quite
half the
scary.
damage. Right? 12,
Alright.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So exactly half the damage, right? It does
Mhm.
half the amount of damage the further the further away we are, right? And now over here, now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, right? So 14. So this is the further away you get, the less damage it's going to be doing. But you can
Mhm.
still be around here and be doing the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? So you can, this is a medium range right here. This is where you probably want to be, right? Within this range, right? And then you can get closer if you need to, and you can get farther if you need to. But you want to be within this range, and then this is mid-range, right? When we're fighting from here. Then if we're attempting to do this from all the way back here, right, where we're doing a
Right.
lot less damage. Even
Okay.
if we're getting super far away, that's half the damage.
Welcome to Junket.
We need to fall back.
Yeah, here we are.
Duncan. Affirmative. Fall back.
Now, if they're all on cart here, then this is a much better scenario, right? Because then they're like twice as close, and they're all out in the
Yeah.
open. But yeah, here it's just not as good because like you see, we're hitting headshots, but it's just doing nothing.
Mhm.
Okay, from here now we can probably look to use like a visor. Yep, exactly. Place health pad before you go for visor because visor is basically like a "Hey, shoot at me" button, right? When you're using
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're using high noon, same thing with high noon, right?
Yeah.
You're essentially asking to get targeted. So
Mhm.
when you know you're gonna get shot at, it's a smart idea to pre-pack, right, and throw your pack at the floor
Right.
so that you can be healing throughout your whole visor and you don't have to worry about it at all. Pick a target out, right? Don't try not to swap between multiple things. Preferably here, I would have done it slightly earlier when they're all spread out, right? Because look at tanks aren't really doing much. If on Zenyatta here, he's out in the open. Moira's out in the open. Reaper has no Wraith. We use this after they kind of clump together, and then look what Sigma does, right?
Yeah.
And then now he just does this. Okay, very nice. Yeah, right now we probably just want to get aggressive, clean up those kills. He just jumped off the map or got pushed off the map. Yep, we drop.
Doing ground. Enemy turret theory disproven. Barriers about to
Okay, again, we're taking this awkward angle.
Mhm.
It's not the best. Like we can see them down main, we can spam them down main, but it's not a flank angle, right? It's just straight up, and we
Mhm.
just lose a lot of our value on Soldier because now we don't really get enough value. Soldier is good because he's a very so like the why Soldier is good as a character is because he is like out of all the DPS probably one of the most well-rounded, right? He can do
Mhm.
close range, he can do far range, he can do medium. He does really good medium range. He has a fast movement ability. He has healing. He has a burst damage, right? He has consistent damage. But
Mhm.
like up against something like what are they running? They're running Reaper Torb, right? Up against Torbjorn, for example, right? Torb with his just shots and his turret is gonna do more spam damage than you, right? So if we're
Right.
just up like Torb versus Soldier and just the amount of spam damage they can do, Torb's just gonna do more, right? So if we're just sitting here,
Mhm.
we're essentially trying to be a Torb when Torb's just better at that. So if we're using this playstyle, we'd be better off on a different character. When
Okay.
on Soldier, we want to be using Soldier's playstyle, which is slightly flanky, right?
Okay.
We're not going, and you always have to keep in mind, like, take that with a grain of salt. When I say flanky, I mean just we're trying to get different angles, right? And the
Mhm.
difference, I don't think we've gone over the difference. I'm not going to exit out of the game. I almost did that. The difference between a flank and an off angle is that a flank takes a very long period of time, and a flank is usually unsafe, whereas an off angle is just taking a different angle, right? So
Mhm.
a off angle would be whereas this is the main angle, right? Right down main, this is the main angle. An off angle would
Mhm.
be coming up to high ground here, right? Did not take
Mhm.
any amount of. It took us about 2-3 seconds, and it's
Mhm.
also very safe. Okay, an off angle. This is a little bit more of a flank, right? This takes a little bit more time. Okay, but it's also very safe, right? So I'd consider this maybe another off angle. A flank
Okay.
would be if we maybe ran around the whole side here, right? And then now we're here. This is a little bit
Right.
more risky, right? This is a lot easier for them to catch us. It's a lot easier for them to catch us out, and it took a lot more time. So usually you're not, because when you're taking time out of the fight, that's time that they're in the fight and we're not. And then uh, also on top of that, it's also very risky. So we're not going to want to go for those a whole lot unless we're trying to get like a surprise ultimate off or something like that. But it
Okay.
just main, I probably say one of the biggest things that we're struggling with in this game is our positioning, as we're not
Mhm.
usually positioning in the right spots. And then on top of that, decision making. Now, I haven't seen much of our soldier yet, but on McCree, I'd probably say our flashbang usage is very good. Our roll usage is pretty decent. I like to see maybe faster rolls when we're looking to finish up a target, right? Somebody's 1 HP and we have to reload, just go
Mhm.
for the roll to finish it off really easily.
Okay.
But besides that, roll and flashbang usage is pretty decent. I think it's just the um, really decision making, and a big one is positioning so
Yeah.
far. And then soldier, I need to just see more about your abilities before I say anything on those.
60 seconds remaining.
Alright, yep, just not fantastic spot. Just makes it super easy for us to get punished. Okay,
Mhm.
so here we need to be checking, or I think because we all died at a very similar time, we should be fine. But right now I'm checking, like, did we get our whole team? Okay, because if we don't, then that's not gonna be great for us. Yep. Okay, so we did not get our whole team. We're down Junkrat, but we have enough people to where we're fine. Since we have
Mhm.
5 people, we want to be holding above them, okay? Because this positioning is going to be better than that positioning. This denies
Okay.
them from taking their high ground, because we can pretty much just, spam. Oh, if our whole team's sitting up here, they can't really take high ground, or else we'll just spam them out, right? We have Junkrat, we
Mhm.
have Soldier. This allows us to spam down at them from their above behind angle, right? We can spam at them from here. From here,
Okay.
if we have flank, like people who want to flank and do their own thing, we can have people in this window up on our high ground, right? But if we have our whole team above here, we can pretty much send tanks down to contest cart and just have everyone spamming at them from high grounds above them, and we deny them the high ground usage, right? Whereas if we
Right.
hold this, and then the other, sorry, to get on top of that, you know what we talked about with how there's 2 points, right? 2 fights per point. If we
Right.
contest them on this high ground, there might not be 2 fights here, because
Right. Right.
if they get it to where they're like here, right underneath us, then
Mhm.
that means that they're close enough to where they can probably just throw 3 people on cart and then get it in without us being able to recontest once they win the fight.
Gotcha.
Whereas if we
Okay.
hold here, that means we're contesting earlier, which means that now
Mhm.
we are. If we contest over here, we're now getting 2 fights in, probably guaranteed, as long as we're contesting it correctly and we're not staggering.
Gotcha. Okay.
And now, if we only had 2 or 3 people here, and then we wouldn't want to do that because wouldn't have our whole team with us, right?
Feeling spry.
Mhm.
Okay, Hog swing up behind us. We just gotta keep our ears open for it. Watch for the flanks. Unfortunate. Try not to helix. I know it's a really, really hard habit to get out of. I used to do this all the time on Pharah. I used to play Pharah a lot.
Yeah.
I would shoot him after he after he hooked me, and then I'd kill
Uh-huh.
myself. Just it's a habit that you just got to get out of. Every time when the hog hooks you, don't use the ability that does splash damage, right? Because you would have lived if you
Yeah.
hadn't shot yourself, right? You had the health
Yeah.
pack, then you had a mercy on top of you.
Oh,
Yep.
you look tired.
Okay, so you're down 2. Not very good for us. Now our team, we'd be yelling to our team, back up, group up, or at least play safe, right? You're down 2.
None of this move.
Target down. Enemy turret destroyed.
Okay, we just saw the Reaper peek up top left. We want to be running away right now. Yep, exactly. Just take a different angle. Again, focusing, like, it's just, there's a few different things that we just look around to for, like turrets here, Reapers here, Torbs around the car, but kind of the first thing we always lock on to is the tank, which you just want to change up that priority so that we're locking onto something instead. When did we get Visor here? Did we just get Visor, or we had Visor?
Pretty much as soon as I...
Alright.
Got you in my sights.
Oh, in the game. Alright. Well, what do we have here? Like 6 minutes left? Yep. So I guess we'll just do a recap then, so we don't have enough time to go into anything else, and then after that I'll open up for questions. But I guess as a recap here, just go into training range so we can just visually see this on McCree. Biggest thing, positioning. Same thing with Soldier. Biggest thing, positioning. Then game sense will come next. We also talked about some we just touched on crosshair placement. I don't think that mechanics is your main problem, but just you can always just keep on improving with that. Just make sure your crosshairs head level. We're trying to always keep it there, but like no matter what height they're at, right? Head level, and we're trying to put it like more towards corners, right? If there's nobody here and we know that there's somebody over here, we want to be placing a crosshair where there's gonna be somebody. All right, I missed the first shot and dumb. Just focus on those things. Then ability-wise, I think your roll's pretty decent. Your flashbang's pretty decent. Just there's slight minor things that we were talking about, like with your flashbang, might not want to go for those right clicks if they're too far away or if they're already low, right? We can just go like that, right? And with our regular shots, right, if we miss everything and then we hit them and then we need to just get that fast reload, just keep in mind that you can just go for the roll to get the ammo back, right? Even faster than your reload is. Now on top of that, now we're swapping over to the Soldier. I think your high noon usage was, I think with your both your ultimates on high noon or with McCree and Soldier, I would have liked to see you go for maybe more surprise angles. We always try to do this from and I think this also comes down to where our positioning was a lot of the time we're like, let's say this is the main kind of avenue of the fight. A lot of time we're just sitting here and we're just going like this the whole time, right? We're just going and that's it. Okay, we're not mixing it up. We're not taking the high ground angles. We're not going on an off angle where we're just going like this, right? Get up to the high ground and now we're on a much better angle, right? We can get behind shields. We can kind of flank and get to these different angles where we're closer to them. We can see them a lot easier. We're not having to spam at shields the whole time, right? We can just do a lot more. We have a lot more survivability. And that applies as well to our Visor and our high noon, is that we're trying to use it from this angle where all the tanks have to do is just like, or all they have to do is they just have to walk around the corner. All tanks have to do is they just have to throw a shield at you. So unless you see that they're all on the open where they can't run away, which there are going to be scenarios, and like that's another topic, but that's called no man's land, when it's basically like a long choke point. But unless they all can't run away, we don't want to use high noon from this angle, right? Right. But instead, what we can do is we can look to take that off angle, right? And then now, like if we're visoring as Soldier here, I guess we can look to get it up. Now we can just do that from this off angle, and we're just getting behind shields. And like even if we don't get kills with it, we're still drawing so much. We're getting damage in. We're drawing attention to where we're creating a crossfire effect to where our team's over there, we're right here. That means that they have to pick and choose between us and our team, which means that they have to split the resources in half. Whereas if we're just down there, all of the resources just go to the front line, which means that there's a lot less that they have to do to, worry about us. So from this side angle, right? Oh, I didn't do the health pack, my bad. But from the side angle, we're going to be able to do a whole lot more than trying to do that from the front line.
Okay. So positioning off angles, that's what I need to be.
Yep. Positioning on off angles, positioning on high grounds. Yep. Big things. Soldier with your Helix rocket usage, I think I can't. Honestly, I don't think I was watching it enough to make an accurate, I guess, assessment on it. Just make sure you're looking to use it to burst things down, right? The faster we kill things, the easier it's going to be for us. So we're looking to use it to finish off targets most of the time. With your health pack, you're just gonna look to use it, whenever you need healing, or if you're looking to just plop down somewhere, right? If we're just running up on this angle, we're coming up on this off angle, right? As soon as we get here, I might just place this down so that I can sit in this spot for a little. Oh, whoops, I fell. So I can sit in that spot for a little bit longer, right?
Have a
And
little
not
bit
have
more
to be,
sustain.
yeah, have a little bit more sustain, so I'm not forced to back off it like really fast. And then besides that, that pretty much wraps it up. I'm gonna end the recording here.
Okay.